Last fall, when I did the milk taste test with my family, we determined that we preferred the raw milk. But that's also what we're used to. In doing another taste test with people who are used to store-bought milk, I was hoping to see which one they like best as well as what they could taste. Prior to what you see in this video, the only thing I told my friends is that this was going to be a milk taste test. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Sam.
I'm Dan.
My name is Jordan.
So, what we have here is three different types of milk. I would like you to taste each of them and talk about what you taste in them and which one you like best. So we can start working on that.
Sounds good.
And sample A are these large clear glasses, sample B are these small clear glasses, and sample C are these mugs.
Letter A is very creamy, almost had a little bit of some floating stuff in it. Not unpleasant though.
I was gonna say the same thing, actually.
I like it.
Smells slightly, I don't taste it, but I can smell it. Smells slightly cooked. Not sure if you can tell that.
I wouldn't know. It's got a aftertaste to it, or like a not unpleasant.
I agree with you.
I cannot smell B.
It almost tastes like, I don't know how to describe it, like less. Like this has like almost a flavor to it, and then this is just sort of.
Yeah, this tastes like regular whole milk. Almost.
I like it.
Like B,
B.
and try C.
I gotta.
I'm waiting for one of them to have like jalapeno juice in it.
This one has a smell, I think. Not as strong as the other two, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they like decreased in like flavor.
I like it.
Yeah, it is definitely the strongest of the flavors. It's more powerful. I think B looks lighter. Yeah.
I would agree with you.
Are we using all the senses?
If you want to.
How's it smell?
It's a scientific method.
I mean, sound. Shoot, I messed up. Dang, that was gonna be funny.
Yeah, B looks to be the whitest. In my.
So, do you have an idea of which one you think tastes the best?
I think A has the strongest flavor. I don't know if my personal favorite milk is the strongest of the flavors. I think I like.
I'm kind of a plain kind of person. I think I like B.
I would like A as a nice treat, but B is my standard.
So what I believe these actually are, what I told my parents to set these up as for us, is that one of them is just raw milk.
Okay.
One of them is whole milk bought from the store. And one of them is pasteurized milk from the farm, the same that the raw milk came from.
Okay, so two of them are the same
Milk, but home pasteurized and not. So do you have any idea which one is which?
Oh gosh. Well, I thought you were gonna say one of them was 1% or something from the store, and I would have thought that C was the 1% because it seemed to be less strong. But I don't know.
So
I'm gonna guess that A is raw milk.
That would make sense because it is the strongest.
So I'm not sure because this didn't match, my flavor tasting of this didn't match with what I remember when I did this previously, which was that I remember a very clear distinction, which was that there's a very clear distinction between the different types of milks, and we could clearly tell which way they were before we knew. I happen to know that C had quite a thick layer of cream on it.
Oh, did it?
So I'm pretty sure that's at least either the raw milk or the pasteurized, home pasteurized milk. But, and so that would result in B being the store-bought whole milk, which you actually remarked on, is it tasted like that.
I thought it did.
But this one doesn't taste like the pasteurized milk.
Okay.
I happen to think that this one is the home pasteurized milk. Oh, this one doesn't. C doesn't taste like the raw milk. I happen to think that this one is the home pasteurized milk, because I could taste a little bit of a cooked flavor in it, and also that the cream was chunky in it, which I remember from last time.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure because it doesn't, and I don't actually know. My parents didn't leave an answer sheet for us, so I will get back to you on which ones those were.
Well, which one do you think the raw milk was?
Based on this being cooked and this tasting like the whole milk, I would think, and knowing that this had cream on it, I think that this is the raw milk, but I'm not sure. About a minute after the recording stopped, I did find the identification sheet my parents had left for us. It matched what I had theorized on the recording. Comparing what my friends preferred, who were used to store-bought milk, versus the previous test where we were all typically drinking raw milk, my hypothesis that people like what they used to appears to be correct. However, it's not truly a fair test because of some of the issues that I'll discuss later about how the raw milk doesn't really seem to be the same as it was in the previous test. However, I don't think it really would have mattered given that the rationale for liking sample B was that it was a less intense and just kind of more normal tasting milk. The home pasteurized milk was noted having a kind of a creamy flavor, particularly with globs of creaminess in it. This is something I've noticed in the previous time I did the taste test, with kind of congealed bits of creaminess, whereas just a straight raw milk, those are spread out, at least when you mix it up shortly before drinking it. It definitely seems to be some artifact of the pasteurization process. I was surprised how definitively Sam was able to identify sample B as store-bought whole milk, which is exactly what it was. I would not have expected myself to be able to identify that, and especially without any idea of what options there were. But then again, I have much less experience with store-bought milk, and even the rather limited experience I have, I generally drink one type of milk for extended periods of time with very limited switching. His assessment that sample C tasted like 1% store-bought milk is very apt. The taste of raw milk really did not come through in this test. I'm not entirely sure why, but there are a couple possibilities I've theorized as to why there wasn't that more intense flavor of raw milk that I think of as typical and I've observed in the previous taste test I did. This time, the milk had been out of the bulk tank for 2.5 days, with pasteurization having occurred 2 days prior. The previous taste test, the milk had been out for 1.5 days, with pasteurization having occurred only a couple hours prior. The time of year was also different, and time of year has an effect on the cream content and flavor of milk. However, given that this was late June and the previous one was in mid-November, I typically think of the more springtime ones as having the stronger flavor and definitely having more cream. Though the time of year flavor difference doesn't seem so likely given that there was the stronger flavor in the pasteurized milk. This kind of leads to a theory that somehow the milk degraded over time and the pasteurization stopped that degrading of flavor. Though with the relatively short times involved, I kind of doubt that. And we do keep milk for a couple days, 3-4 days after we get it from the farm. It lasts quite well, and I haven't noticed any flavor degradation over that amount of time, though admittedly I'm not really looking for that when I drink milk, which actually isn't that common. The results of this experiment lends credence to my hypothesis that people prefer the type of milk that they're used to, though it's not entirely there because the raw milk did not have the flavor that I consider typical of raw milk. That in itself brings up a lot more questions, which this experiment was not designed at all to answer, and I don't think I will be experimenting with in the future. Recording has started.
Alright, here we are for our new unboxing video.
How much can you see?
Carton.
Your laps. Like, it's about to where your elbows are.